Hello, my name is Becky, and if you know me, then you know that what you're about to hear is, well, a lot. And you know that I am probably going to talk your ear off. If you don't know me, I am an in your face kind of girl, and I don't really hold much back. And, well, there you go. There's me in a nutshell. Um, I thought about doing one of those videos where, there's a song playing or I sing the song because I sing and I can bring the drama. I thought about doing that or, with the note cards and everything. But instead, I'm just going to tell you everything. I have a testimony to share. I have a story to share, and it will involve tears, it will involve drama, and it will involve just a lot to say. So let me start. I have been on a journey the past year that I never ever thought I would have to go through. I broke 2 bones. I knocked my 2 front teeth crooked, and then I ended up in the hospital for about 2 months, and I ended up almost dead. And that was, I think, the biggest of all of them, with sepsis. And it was due to having a feeding tube placed because I had went into malnutrition. And that is something I never expected that I would experience, because I used to be over 400 pounds. Right now, I'm falling somewhere between 170 to 180, and I don't mind sharing that weight with you because, as I said, I used to be a very large woman. 3 years ago, I had a weight loss surgery, and it was not gastric bypass or the sleeve. It was called the duodenal switch or duodenal switch. Just depends on how you want to say it. I like to say duodenal because it sounds cooler. I've been in doctor's offices and so much that you might hear me say a lot of medical terms and things like that. I do like how it makes me sound. I feel kind of cool because, I've heard all the terms and stuff. But anyway, this is what is called, the duodenal switch is what is referred to as the Mac Daddy, or the Cadillac of all weight loss surgeries. And I was eligible for that because I was so large. I had diabetes type 2. I had sleep apnea. My liver function and everything was not as good as some others, as what they were, what they wanted it to be. Fatty liver disease is what I had. And most people who are very obese have fatty liver disease. I don't know if you know that, but that's true. So if you're very obese right now, you do need to watch your liver and try to eat better. Just saying. So, it was something I needed to do for my overall health. I also suffered and still suffer from migraine headaches. And so every doctor I saw said, you need to get your weight under control. Why don't you have weight loss surgery? And so I said, okay, let's go ahead and do it if it'll help. Did it help my migraines? No, not at all. My migraines have many different triggers. The main trigger for my migraines is from a surgery I had about 8 years ago because I had a pituitary tumor in the brain. At the base of your brain lies your pituitary gland, and in that gland I had a tumor that was secreting high levels of cortisol. The cortisol is the hormone that is also known as the stress hormone or the fight or flight hormone. So when I was heavy, I ran, really rough and tough and energetic, and I was able to do all these things. And I can recall overhearing some people say, yeah, I don't know how she does it. She's so heavy, but she's able to do all this stuff. And I was like, you know, but that's why. That's why I was able to do so much, yet still be such a heavy person. It was because I was basically on steroids and I didn't know it. So I was a full-time teacher. I'm a wife and I'm a mother of twin girls who are absolutely wonderful and gorgeous. And, you know, I also have a very supportive husband, but I was very involved in every aspect of my life. So, I was running hot and running full force all the time. Well, when I found out I had the tumor and it needed to come out, the high levels of cortisol were causing my bones to deteriorate, and I didn't know this. I actually found that out just about 3 years ago or so, and I realized that was causing osteoporosis. So I have osteoporosis at a young age because of the high levels of cortisol. With those high levels, they call that there's a syndrome that goes with it called Cushing's disease, and that's what I had. So Cushing's disease causes you to be heavy and you're very overweight. It can cause a moon-shaped face, a hump on your back, and several other things. And I pretty much fit the criteria for all of that. I don't have a hump, but I fit kind of everything else. Anyway, the first surgery to take out the tumor, they went up through my lip into my brain, took most of it out. They couldn't get all of it because it was wrapped around some main arteries. So I had to have gamma knife radiation to take the rest out. In order to radiate, I had to wear a special device on my head for the radiation. That's called a halo, but the halo screws into your skull. And those metal spikes or pins that go into your skull, they damage nerves in my head, which I don't know why they didn't mention that to me, that was a risk, or maybe it was in the fine print, but it damaged nerves. And so those damaged nerves, which are on fire 24/7, that's the other thing that causes my migraines. So I'm also prone to migraines just because I am. I guess it runs in the family on one side. And I get them with the weather changes and with my female cycle. I get it with that too. So I've been working for the past 8 years to get control of that. And there are several treatments I use. And I could go over that in another video, or if you want more info on that, I'm finally getting control of it. And, you know, things are working. But no, the bariatric surgery did not help the migraines. There you go. So that's still, I'm working on it. What it did help was my weight. My diabetes was reversed, and I no longer need a CPAP machine. I don't stop breathing in my sleep, which is great. And my overall health, as far as being obese and all of that, that's better. So that was a plus. So I am thankful for that, and I'm glad I did it. And I am glad that I had the radiation treatments and the tumor removal, because if I had let it continue to grow, I would be blind. And it also caused a lot of mood swings and just some craziness. And if I had let that continue, it probably would have affected every relationship I had ever had. So getting the tumor out and not having Cushing's disease and having that cortisol go through my system all the time, well, my bones would be all powder by now. And, it just would have been bad. Anywho. So, there you have it. Now, because my bones were a little more brittle than normal, when I fell last year after church at a Klein's on the concrete, I broke my right leg and my left arm and knocked out my teeth. It really was hard on my body when I was rebuilding the bones. So because I was rebuilding those bones, my body pretty much sapped all of the nutrients that I needed, and it took them all just to rebuild the bones. And that's why I went into complete malnutrition. What do you call it? Oh, kind of malnutrition everywhere. So anyway, when that happened, my doctor said, you need a feeding tube. I'm very worried. And my weight went down into the 120s. That is way too small for a person like me. That's way too small for many people. I'm about 5'6.5" to 5'7", and for that height, that's way too small. Well, they put in the feeding tube, and this was in the fall of last year. They put in the feeding tube a little early because I fell at home, and my husband had me rushed to the emergency room at the hospital near where I live. And actually, when I went to see my doctor about having it, my blood sugar dropped when I was in the doctor's office, and I actually passed out right there in the doctor's office. I was checking out, and then all of a sudden I found myself in a potted plant. I woke up in a potted plant. I was like, oh, what happened? They're like, you wiped out. And they took me into the emergency room there. I had to spend some time in the hospital there. And he's like, please get a feeding tube. I'm like, okay, I said yes. So anyway, a few days later, I don't remember this, but apparently I passed out in the bathroom at home. They took me to the hospital. They did everything a little early, and they put in the feeding tube. I was doing okay, and then all of a sudden my fever spiked, and I wasn't doing okay. My body did not react very good to the foreign material of the feeding tube, and my body started to reject it. Well, my body inside swelled up really large, and as it swelled up, the feeding tube poked a hole into my intestine. And when that happened, I became septic, and I just started to spiral downward. They called my husband, and they said, listen, we're doing everything we can. We found the problem. We're going to fix it, but we have to stabilize her. She's not doing well. You better get here now. We're not sure which way this is going to go. So you got to come and be ready to say goodbye just in case. So he did. He came, and they said, talk to your children, talk to the rest of the family. He did. He called our pastor, and apparently my whole family came. If they get to see this, they can write something. Again, I don't remember any of the in-betweens here. I don't remember the before all of this. All I remember is when I finally woke up November 7th. And I believe I was taken into the hospital that original time before having the feeding tube put in. I think it was October 29th, something like that. So I don't remember any of this, and that's because of all the medications. It could be because of the trauma of what happened. But they did finally stabilize me. I had, from what I understand, at least 500 people praying for me. Several churches. My church, whom I'm very grateful for. My parents and immediate family, of course. and some churches overseas, and my mom's friends, and churches everywhere. They were praying for me. And family came, and I know my pastors were there, both of them, and my husband and my children, and everybody knew what was going on, and I stabilized. Praise the Lord. And they were able to go in. The doctor cleaned me up. But at that point, I had swelled too large for him to close. And so I was left with an open stomach wound. And when I awoke on November 7th, I was told what happened. And I saw a suction device on there. And it was called a wound vacuum. It kept things clean, and I had that from November till end of February of this year. So that was 2019 into 2020. I know it came off before the virus hit. That's how I can remember it. I wore bandages until yesterday. And today is December 1st, 2020. No more bandages. So this is my celebration. I am so happy. No more medical boxes coming to the house. I am so happy. It is hard to be in bandages for a long time. So what I have now in the front, I'm wearing my cute French shirt, and I'm wearing my overalls to cover up a little bit because I'm still self-conscious. But I'll get over it eventually. I have the world's biggest, it's about this big, hernia in the front. That's what it is. It's a giant hernia, which took time to fill in with tissue, and then skin had to cover. And I saw, if you're squeamish, turn this off now or fast forward. I saw my own intestines bare when they changed the dressing. That was an experience. Now that it's all covered with skin, I see them underneath moving all the time. It looks like something from Alien. It is so weird. It's kind of cool too. So that is strange to live with. I do not look normal. If I wore a bikini and anybody saw me, they'd be like, what is wrong with her? I look like I've been shot through the middle with a cannonball, like from the cartoons, like on a Looney Tunes. But you know what? It's all good. I'm here. So, it is weird to deal with it. And this is part of me dealing with it. But I know that God had his hand, or God's hand, on me. I don't know if you can really call God a man or a woman. I think God is God. But Jesus was a man, but God is God. Anyway, I just wanted to share the whole story from start to finish. My time in the hospital last year lasted until December 20th. I count my time in the rehab center, working out, learning how to walk again and everything like that as hospital time. And that was mostly from I think December 5th until the 20th, something like that. Because when I woke up, I couldn't really move. My right arm was completely dead and immobilized, and it was super swollen. One of the IVs had infiltrated and it left everything immobile. I learned how to use that hand pretty quickly because I wanted to text and communicate with everybody. So if you ever are unable to move your arm just for some random reason, just make sure it's the one you can text with, and then that will help. But walking and standing, that came a little later. I was really shocked that I couldn't walk and couldn't stand so easily. I didn't know that being immobile for that long did that to your muscles. That was weird, but even just sitting up, that took everything out of me after having been just in that induced coma for so long. And that was strange. But I was up and moving and walking by December 25th and December 20th. And then I was able to go home, and I had Christmas last year at home, and that was fantastic. My time spent in the hospital, I'll tell you, that was really hard. But the workers in the hospital, let me just tell you, if you know a nurse or a CNA, bless them somehow. Give them something. Give them a hug. Give them a an elbow shake or a fist bump or a gift card or just a kind word. Because even before this virus hit, man, they are just wonderful people. I just looked at one of them one day and I said, girl, I said, you come in here every day and you smell these smells, you wipe my butt, and you do it with a smile on your face. I'm like, you're an amazing person. And I swear to you, she left with tears in her eyes. And I thought, that's what these people do. I was in that hospital and I could not move. I could not do anything for myself. I had to be so humbled. And let me tell you, there is nothing so humbling as to not be able to use a bathroom. Come on. So, it was an experience. Now, I want to talk to you now. If you're done, you don't have to listen to all of this. I understand I'm talking a lot. But I'm going to tell you now about what I saw and what I felt when I was in a coma. So while I was there in the hospital, I was under. I was under for a long time. And I had a spiritual experience, and I also had some crazy fun experiences. So I'm going to talk about the spiritual part first, and then I'll tell you some of the fun, silly stuff. Okay? So here is the spiritual whoa stuff. While I was under, now this was all under, I guess I was under an anesthetic. I was on the vent. So from what I understand, I was on the vent for about 7 days, I believe. 7 or 8. Could have been 6 to 8 days, just to be accurate, we'll say. What I remember is seeing a great big white wall. It was marbly, and I remember hearing a voice on one side of the wall, and to me, I really think it was the voice of God. And what I heard God say was, "It's not time yet. It's not time yet." And on my side of the wall, I saw a very glistening purple, and it was just the most beautiful color I had ever seen. And I've seen that color before. I've had dreams before where I have seen my aunt and my grandmother and my cousin in heaven, and they've worn that color. And it is like a light lavendery periwinkly purple. And it glistens, like with a glittery, I can't quite describe, but that's the color I saw all around me. And I saw it dangling from the ceiling. These things, purple things, and then a wall of white. It was kind of a pearly, but not quite, and not opalescent. I wouldn't describe it like that, but it was just like maybe more like marble. And then, but on the other side, there it was like God was on the other side saying, "You can't come in yet." And I'm like, okay, you know. But the whole time I was there, and I felt like I was there for a while, God was saying, it's not time yet. And then all of a sudden, it's like I was swept back, and I saw my dad, and my dad was there, and he was talking to me, Rebecca, and you hear me? And I think that's when I went back to reality. I remember that. So take from that what you will. I believe God was with me the whole time. And I actually believe God is with me all the time. But I really, truly feel the hand of God was with me through the whole thing. And I credit God with bringing me through. And medicine. I believe in medicine. I believe in science. And I had a great doctor. His name is Dr. Oviedo. And for a time, he worked in Winchester, Virginia. And from what I understand, now he's in Florida. And he's a fantastic bariatric surgeon. So if you ever need surgery or you're considering anything like that, he's great. The other person on his team is a Dr. Glembot, and he's in Winchester, Virginia. So if you ever need something like that done, I encourage you to look for those names because they help keep me alive. I'll share one funny one. Here's a funny. When I woke up, I thought I was on a cruise ship with a hospital in it, which some people have said when I told them that, oh, it was the Love Boat. The Love Boat. I also thought when I had trouble with the catheter, which was really bugging me because everybody hates those things, I was telling my nurse about it. And I think at one point she was telling me about her kitty cat and how, you know, her cat was so cute or something. So somehow in my brain, I got the idea that she had to leave, that she was talking about she had to go somewhere that evening. My brain and the meds somehow made up that I couldn't use the bathroom and I had to have the catheter because if I used the bathroom, I would be going in her litter box because that room was her litter box. She was a cat. And that evening on the cruise ship, she was performing in Cats. Yep. So drugs are bad, okay? Drugs are bad. So anyway, thought you might enjoy that. Funny one. Yeah. The fevers can be bad too. I frequently thought I was floating in a boat through the whole hospital. They did move me from room to room many times. So I think that's where that came from. I also thought I was in a great big boat on the Arctic at some point, and I was going fishing, ice fishing. And apparently that's when they put me in a cold tub of water to bring my temperature down. And I was talking to Chris about that and how wonderful it was and how it made me feel so good. And he said, yeah, honey, that's when your temperature was real high. They put you in an ice bath. So whole experience was, it was bad. I'm not gonna lie, but there are parts I can look back on it and laugh at. So anyway, I'm really happy that I have finally healed, and the physical healing is part of the mental healing. There will probably always be some PTSD type stuff going with it. When I woke up, I thought I had been cut in two. I had to ask the nurses where my pieces were. I thought my feet and my legs were on another bed. I didn't know if I had been in a car accident or what had happened to me. I had fears like that. Some of those fears might always be there. That's just part of trauma and going through terrible things like this. So I'm learning to deal with that, and I will get over it, I think, sometime. I don't wake up screaming or anything like that, but I have woken up scared before, and I wake up at night seeing nurses in the hallway, and I wake up, with certain flashes and noises and hearing helicopters above, or if I do hear a real helicopter, it brings everything back, because they are a trauma center and they do have helicopters that come in. So, that's part of the experience. I still have trouble when I think about what happened. Oh, the light is weird. Sorry about that. When I think about what happened with my head, I still have trouble with that. But again, I'm here. And I know I'm not alone. I've had so much support. So much support. And the other thing is I have had support from God above. And I will tell you, if you're going through a hard time, or if this whole pandemic has just made you lose your faith, or just lose faith in anything, please reach out. Reach out to friends, reach out to family, and reach out to God above, because He's not asleep and He's not sitting there twiddling His thumbs. God is listening, and God knows. Things don't always happen on our timeline. Lord knows they haven't happened on mine. It has been over a year to heal from this thing here. I was not able to take a real shower for over 7 months. I mean, think about that. No real shower. Wasn't able to wash my hair for real. I had to do it in the sink and everything.